Quickly here, before I start to go into the video, this video was obviously recorded before this season started. At least the gameplay was. Right now, the audio is being recorded after it started. And if you want my quick thoughts real quick on the season, I think it has potential, but I haven't really gotten to play much. But let's get into the video. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to figure out how many different placements I can get in 100 games. This video is like a spiritual successor to my getting every placement video, but let's stop talking and start getting into these games. Day 1. This day started at midnight. Game 1, this was my first real game in half a month, and I did alright getting 24th. Game 2, I had this weird visual glitch after I spent most of my game as a Storm Beast, where my sky skin became bald. But anyways, the rest of the game didn't really matter, and I got 8th. Game 3, I got 30th, and I killed someone with Crypto's Treat. Game 4, I got 64th. Game 5, I finally got to level 100 during this game, and I got 53rd. So the last two of those games, I was close to getting the Superman Mythic, and for the first one, I got it, got shot away, and then someone else got it. So I assumed that I couldn't be too close to it when it hit the ground. So the second time, I was a bit farther away, but then people were right next to it and didn't get knocked away. So I still don't get it. Someone please explain to me what was supposed to happen. But let's move on to Game 6. I was doing really good, but due to my horrible lag, I got 17th. Game 7, I got 38th. Game 8, I did pretty good this game, and I finally got the Superman Mythic. Coincidentally, I also landed the Fortress of Solitude, but getting the Mythic didn't really help because I was still very laggy, and after I lost the Superman form, I died getting 19th. Also, I unlocked the Superman skin after that game. Game 9, I got some cool kills on people, but I died getting 41st. Game 10, I got 85th. Now I have 90 games left and 90 placements left. Day 2. Game 11, I did great this game, but one guy kept taunting me and fighting me for a few seconds, then running away, all throughout the middle and end of the game, until he killed me, getting me 8th, which was my first repeat. Game 12, during this game, I did alright, and at one point I walked past somewhere where AIs spawn and got lasered, so I thought, wow, these AIs got good aim, until I realized it was a person. I killed that guy, and later on I killed the Superman version of the guy, who became Superman, but then that guy landed on me and used the Storm Beast item to turn into that, and killed me, getting me 19th, which is yet another repeat. Game 13, I got my first non-repeat of the day, getting 75th. Game 14, I got 84th. Game 15, I got another repeat with 53rd. Game 16, I got 80th. Game 17, I got 82nd. Game 18, I got 72nd after I got into an intense 3-person fight. Game 19, I got 73rd. Game 20, I got double-teamed after a good game, making me get 11th. I now have 80 games left and 83 placements left. Game 21, I got 90th. Game 22, I got 80th again. Game 23, I got 45th. Game 24, I got 84th again. And Game 25, I got 21st. Day 3. Game 26, I did good throughout the beginning and middle of the game and got a bunch of kills. During the top 5, however, I didn't do that good. And it didn't help that I only had minis for heals. So I killed the 3rd place player because he was barely popping his head out. Then I died to the last guy, getting me 2nd. Game 27, I got 94th. Game 28, I messed up at the end of my game and got 19th for the 3rd time. Game 29, I got 71st. In Game 30, I did great this game until I found who was probably the best player in the lobby, who barely beat me, getting me 10th. Now I have 70 games left and 76 placements left. I decided to try to get the low placements out of the way at this point. Game 31, I got 91st. Game 32, I got 97th. Game 33, I messed up my plan, so I got a repeat, getting 94th. Game 34, I yet again messed up, getting 94th. Game 35, I got 93rd. Game 36, I got 96th. Game 37, I got 92nd. Game 38, I got 95th. And Game 39, I got 89th. Game 40, I got 87th. I now have 60 games left and 68 placements left. The reason I haven't gotten the placements 100, 99, or 98 is because the most people I've had in a lobby so far is 97. Game 41, I got 86. Game 42, I got 87th again. Game 43, I finally got a game with 98 people, but I was not able to die because when I jumped, it wouldn't make it far enough to die. So I later tried to get 88th, but by the time my fall ended, I died and got 86th again. Game 44, I got 99th. Game 45, I got 98th. 88th is going to be a very difficult one to get because while I'm trying to get it, I'll probably get 87th many times, like I did in 46, which is this game, where I got a lobby with 100 people, but someone left right after I jumped from the bus, and to make the game worse, I got a repeat after slipping of getting 87th, like I've said. Game 47, I fell and got 92nd again. Game 48 and 49, I got 87th again. Game 50, this will be my last attempt for the time being to get 88th because it will probably take way too many attempts to get it, where I could be getting more successful attempts. And this time I got 86th. I now have 50 games left and 65 placements left. In other words, I am halfway through and I've only gotten 35 different placements. Day 4. Game 51, I was doing good this game and killed a bunch of players and got a crown before I ran somewhere to heal. And someone was hiding there, so they killed me and made me get 4th. Game 52, I barely died, getting 70th. Game 53, I got 79th. Game 54, I got 68th. Game 55, I got 8th again after dying when I don't think I should have been able to. Game 56, I was doing great, but then I got into a fight where the other guy kept running away and healing until him and his bot finally killed me, getting me 13th. Game 57, I got 72nd again. Game 58, I got 78th. Game 59, due to lag, I got 69th, and game 60, I got 85th again. I have 40 games left and 58 placements left. On day 5, I didn't play. Now we're moving on to day 6. Game 61, I got my second placement in the 50s with 59th. Game 62, I got 5th after having a pretty good game. Game 63, I did pretty good this game, despite how I was chasing someone for most of the game before they lost me in the top 9, and then I died to someone else getting 9th. Game 64, I got 19th again. Game 65, I got 57th. Game 66, I got 67th. Game 67, I got 76th. Game 68, I got 64th again. Game 69, I got 81st. In Game 70, I got 65th. I now have 30 games left and 50 placements left. We're moving on to day 7. Game 71, I got 34th. Game 72, I got 32nd. Game 73, I got 36th. Game 74, I got 54th. And it was coincidentally my 54th unique placement of the video. Game 75, I got 51st. Game 76, I got 49th. Game 77, I got 62nd. Game 78, I got 61st. Game 79, I messed up my streak of new placements by getting 57th. And then game 80, I got 56th. I now only have 20 games left, and I still have 41 placements left. Day 8. Game 81, I got 48th. Game 82, I got 69th again after someone sniped me. Game 83, I got a lag spike, which made me die and get 54th again. Game 84, I got 46th. Game 85, I got 44th. Game 86, I almost didn't realize that there was 100 people in the lobby, but as soon as I realized, I went for the highest point I could find and jumped off, and finally marked 100 off the list and marking off all the bottom 10 placements. It's pretty crazy that it took me 86 games to finally get 100, because that was only the second time it's ever popped up in this video. Game 87, I was playing regularly, but then accidentally died. But I still got a new placement with 63rd. One placement sooner or later, it would have been a repeat. Game 88, I got 42nd. Game 89, you probably would have thought, since I have been getting such low rankings in my games, that my lobbies would be getting easier. But I think the contrary happened. Usually in a game, I would find 1 or 2 players max that are my skill level, and a few more players who just sit in a car or just use the Storm Beast item all game. But this game I fought someone who was pretty good at the start of the match, then another in the middle of the match, then got triple teamed with one of them using the Storm Beast item, which I survived at 1 HP. Then I ran back into the Storm Beast guy in the top 3, but was able to get away. Then the last 2 people killed themselves, or killed each other, getting me the win with 7 kills. Game 90, I was so close to not getting a repeat, but I got 32nd again. I now only have 10 more games left, but I still have 34 more placements to get. So we'll see how many placements I end up not getting very shortly. Game 91, I got 29th. Game 92, I got 60th. Game 93, I got 33rd. Game 94, I got 50th. Game 95, I got 59th again. Game 96, I got 92nd again. And game 97, I got 70th again. Game 98, I accidentally got 80th again. In game 99, I finally got a new placement with 37. Game 100, I finished off these 100 games by getting another repeat with 56. I ended up getting 70 different placements during these games, so I missed out on 30. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe and help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you next time.